Y'all, this yarrow is showing out. Look how beautiful. Isn't that just such a pretty pink? So sweet. And there's more to come. Got lots of little buds. Some over there. Yay! They're so pretty. I spotted the first bloom of the season. Look how pretty. These are knockout rose standards, and they are just covered in buds. You see all these? Yay! It might actually look like a lollipop this year. We will see. But this little rose is just so pretty. This hosta is just, I think, living its best life, and I could not be happier. It's a beautiful lime color. This one we honestly call like Linda's hosta because we rescued, this was a hosta at her home, and she had just moved in and just had different plans for the area. And so Brian said, if you're wanting it removed, could I bring it home? And she of course said absolutely. And so this is why we call this Linda's hosta, and it is loving its life. Love it. The Woo La La is back here. I have two. This one is doing pretty good. There is one more over here in this area that is in the back here. It is loving its life that much more. I'm not really sure what is different about it other than maybe the pot size is a bit bigger, but not by too much. I think it actually gets more shade over here, so I'll just have to keep an eye on it. But these are Woo La La hostas. This one is doing well also. And I wanted to share with you this sweet hosta, this beautiful lime green. It really packs a punch. And at nighttime, it almost like reflects light. So it's like super, it's nice because it almost like brightens the area. So like the brightness from the like chartreuse color of this hosta, and then also the white that pops off of the chairs and the pillows and the window frames. It kind of brightens up this area over here a little bit, so it's really sweet. Well, me and Cody are sitting over here in the garden and just kind of hanging out, and just wanted to take a minute and share what the garden from this view looks like. I don't know that I do that often. It's definitely not perfect, but we're super thankful for being able to regrade this space and it be, safe, and it kind of come together to provide just, additional garden beds and additional space for us to enjoy and work in and gain that much more experience in with different garden. Cody's sniffing away. Just gain different experience with different plants and such, and excited to see what can kind of come into that can be developed over in this bed. But at least it's nice and clean and fresh, and seeing these purple Sprite phlox and the yellow tick seed. Here's some more phlox, and then some sparkling amethyst verbena. I don't know how that honestly landed there through the shuffle of everything, but it sure does bring some color. But unfortunately, right in here, there's a phlox, a monarda, and a verbena kind of all together. And one of the thoughts I had was to actually move this phlox to about right here, so it'd kind of carry that like purple phlox kind of down. Another option is to plant it on this side of the bed over in the rock garden to extend it. We actually do have one additional one right here, so just kind of thinking about some options just to continue to carry this on. We do really enjoy that purple Sprite phlox. I will mention it's an early bloomer, like early spring bloomer for us, and then kind of like fall, like later into fall. So during the summer, it might not be the most prolific, but man, it sure does look awesome, and for like a good amount of time, I feel like, too. It's definitely a work in progress. You can tell we're working on things. We got shovels and some flags still back there, but actually also excited to see that Japanese maple right here starting to leaf out, and it's such a pretty color. It's unfortunately missing, kind of the back half of itself from the oak tree that fell, but we're still trying to hang in there with it, and it's just such a beautiful color and provides such structure. So we'd hate to lose it completely, especially this season. But I don't think, oh my goodness, I don't think his nose has stopped this whole time that we've been out here. It's so funny. Anyway, this is our view. Sometimes we just come out here and watch the bluebird go in and out of the birdhouse, and sometimes they're not quite sure with us sitting over here, but they'll kind of fly, over in this area, over here, over there, and until they realize, yeah, we're probably not moving, and that they're good and can head over into the birdhouse. So that has been really fun to kind of watch and see, enjoying this view from here as well. The new greenhouse garden bed, I guess, is what we are now deeming that. So we got the greenhouse garden bed, the rock garden bed, and this right here is actually a red bud. I'm not sure if it's going to make it. It's kind of a little low in this area. I think you're supposed to plant them a little bit higher, so I'm not sure if it's gonna make it right now, but we're kind of hoping it'll make it through this summer, and then May can address it, or the spring and summer, then May can address it in the fall. But we're hopeful that that'll take off. And then in theory, this is the red bud bed. We also have some cannas back here we got one yellow canna, and it did multiply into this many, so it's kind of loving its spot, which is great, because this area right here it almost seems like tropical. Like, it'll be a little bit dry, and then like the rain, just we get like a downpour, it'll just collect in this area, and so it needs to be able to handle that. So we got some cannas here. We have some astilbes in here. Not sure that those made it from the storm. This will be the first season after Helene to see if any of the astilbes made it, but those were in there. I'm testing out this hosta right here that we recovered from the actually almost about where we are here. This is the hosta bed area right in here, and testing to see if that would be a neat spot to kind of tuck a hosta in on the other side of this blueberry bush, and it seems to be doing well. I haven't fully convinced Brian yet, but I think this will get enough shade here, being super, getting a little bit of maybe morning sun, and then pretty much full shade the rest of the day. So I just continuing to keep an eye on that, but that's why that's still in a pot. But I do think a hosta right there, filling in that little corner right there, would be really pretty. And then again, might be moving this phlox over to this area here. That will still get a good amount of sun. And then we have that Cosmo lantana right here, and that'll honestly fill in this whole area right here, which I cannot wait. I'm so excited for. And we may even, the Monarda that is about where my finger is right here, I, again, don't know how that made it over there through all the regrading and everything, because I had 1, 2, and 3, and so technically this Monarda is supposed to be over in this area. So we will see, but it kind of multiplies and it'd be kind of hard to move. So, but we will do our best. Anyway, that's an update, and we are just hanging out in the garden and enjoying the peace, enjoying the view, and telling what Cody's on the move about. But I'm sure I'm about to find out. Oh boy, he really is on the move about something. What on earth? Cody. This rosemary is doing well. Y'all, please, we're still trying to correct the fence back here, so don't mind that. But look at this pretty rosemary. Isn't that pretty? It is growing. Seems to be lacking its spot, so we're super happy about that. It's doing a lot better than the other rosemary that we got like this. Because this one just is put on a lot of growth. Like it used to be a really tight like primordial shape, and like from here out is all new growth. So we're pretty excited about that, and we'll see if it'll continue to love its spot. But look at these Nepeta. I know I've probably shown you these lately, but they are just going for it. Look how pretty. Look how pretty. They just look so good against the new mulch. I cannot wait for these to all of these flower buds just to go in full bloom. And even this one, I know it doesn't look that great. I probably could come over here and clean this up a bit. But it still has a lot of buds on it. And so like it's trying. So we will see. This one's pretty new and kind of pieced together from different ones that we had. Just that grew in different spots, and so we kind of clumped them all together, so we're hopeful for that. Oh boy. And these are about to go for it too. These are dianthus, and they're all about to bloom and be covered in these kind of blooms, so stay tuned. Well, what we're looking at here is an incident with just a small little gust of wind and the umbrella crashing back down on the glass top table. Of course, no notice, or shouldn't have even caused this to happen, but it is what it is, and we're making lemonade out of lemons. And so Brian's almost done here, but what we basically decided to do was get some cedar boards, some cedar boards, and did some cross sections here to keep it stable and sturdy, and I will show you the after. But we went 10 inches out, so we're gaining 10 inches on either side of the table, so that's a pro. That's a win, and just a little bit of overhang on the other side, so there's no bowing or anything that happens. And just thankful Brian knows how to get stuff like this done in a pinch. I will show you the after soon. As Brian is completing the table, this is our sidekick over here, and he found the shade. Do you see that line? The foreman, excuse me. Brian said he's the foreman. And he found a shady spot and said, y'all crazy, working in the sun. Feels good though. There's a nice little breeze, but I'm sure the shady spot feels nice and good to him. All right, I think this is the last little bit before we put basically an umbrella hole in this section. You can see where this table is set up to have one with this little guy here. And we just need to, or rather Brian just needs to line this up with this, create a hole for the umbrella, and then we should be good to go. You guys, Brian did it. He surprised me. I was gonna help flip the table over and set the chairs, and he said, come outside, step outside. It is ready. So basically this is extending the life of this set that we have. I've had it for a while, and it was a glass top table, but it did shatter, and at a pretty inconvenient time here in our area, and we just needed to see if we could extend the life of this. And he basically was able to go and pick up some cedar wood, and it's really nice. Please excuse my hands, I've been playing in the dirt, but it's pretty nice. I'm happy with it. There's no screws or nails or anything up top. It's all underneath, and so it just makes for as smooth of a finish as possible for it being wood. And so I'm super happy with it, and we actually were able to extend it to it's 10 inches longer this way and 10 inches longer that way. And so basically added 20 inches total to the length of this, and maybe about with 2 inches to the width, not too much longer to the width, but I think it still looks nice and like to scale, and it gives this space in between these chairs a little bit more room. And even if we needed to, Mike could even add in like a third, like smaller chair, like in between these 2 chairs here and 2 chairs here, if we absolutely needed to. And so if we wanted to pull up, you know, some other chairs, it could work. Probably armless, but you know, I think it works great for now and solves the need. And I'd say a quick fix. I don't know if this is a quick fix for everybody, but Brian was able to knock this out, and maybe from purchasing the cedar to finishing the install, and even creating the little umbrella hole and finishing install, I'd say maybe about 3 hours. 2 hours, like maybe 2.5, like full hours. He kind of had to go in and out. Oh, hello, Cody. He kind of had to go in and out a little bit with some other things we were working on, but I'd say about 2.5, 3 hours. Not bad.